Hello everyone and welcome to the Inspire series with me, Gloria Dozian. I started the Inspire series because I wanted to empower women. I wanted us to learn how to live, love, pray, and be inspired. So join me on this wonderful journey of self-discovery where anything and everything is achievable. The Inspire series features lively guests, all of whom are living the life they only dreamed about. And you can too. Hello everyone and welcome to today's edition of Women's Talk on the Inspire series. Today we're going to be talking about something women always complain about. You know, the bingo arms, pimples, the extra flab on your stomach, body image issues. Why are women not confident about who they are? I know a lot of women who suffer from self-esteem issues, and what research shows is that most of these self-esteem issues are really in our heads. So today I have a panel of experts to discuss body image issues. Okay, and here with me today I have Veronica Ebie, who is stylist extraordinaire to many celebrities from Genevieve to Adora Ole. Nice to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Nice to be here.
And then we have Oreka Godis, who is a media personality. I'm sure we've all seen her before, you know, on the red carpet with her amazing dresses and amazing sense of style.
Well, I don't know about the style. People like Veronica that do that. I have nothing to do with the style. Very happy to be here. Thanks.
Okay. And then finally, we have one of my closest friends ever, Miss Wana from Inspiration FM. She's also a writer as well as a media personality. Thank you for coming on, Wana. Before we start talking about body image issues in women in general, why don't we just try and contextualize stuff? Have you guys ever suffered from any body image issues? Wana, maybe you can go first.
I mean, I was always a chubby kid, so I've never been small. I don't even know what it's like to be small. So I've always had different names since when you were a child, or Obrokoto Nigerian football, different weird and wonderful names. So there was Wana Okoto at some point throughout secondary school. So you always get like really, you know, not so pleasant names. So yeah, and of course, after a while, as a kid, it gets to you. So
okay. I find that those names are just disturbed me, but I find that even, I mean, I was really, really skinny as a child. I wouldn't eat. They actually used to take me to the hospital to get the doctor to give me these medicine that would make me hungry. And even then, I didn't eat very much as a child. So I had nicknames like Wengele. I have no idea what it means, so my aunt literally decided that's what I would be called.
Okay.
People would call me Grasshopper, not because I was tall, but because I was just really, really skinny. And I know that people call people that are, you know, bigger names. But I find that sometimes people who are skinnier as well also get the same label. And it's almost more acceptable to pick on a skinny person than it is a bigger person. So, you know, I've met people who are like a UK size 14 or even a 12, and they're like, oh, if I were your weight, my life would be perfect. Like, no, it's not.
It's so weird to hear that, because for me, I look at you and I just think if I was that slim, I'd be okay. So to even hear you had body image issues growing up as a child.
I still have body image issues.
Really?
Yes.
For what?
So.
What about you, Veronica?
It's the same thing, just like Oreka said. I mean, also for the fact that I remember when I was in high school, I was so skinny and, you know, really, really tall. So of course you get called olive oil, you get called like all sorts of names. And I used to wish that I was much bigger. I remember during one summer, I would get like these milkshakes that would make people fat, just, you know, just so that I would drink them so that I could be a bit bigger. And then also as I got a little older, after my teenage years, modeling and everything, that's a whole different industry that you are constantly critiqued about the way you look. So all the time when you go in for jobs, to tell you, oh, your eyes are too far apart, or your nose, or your skin's not light enough. So I was always, you know, constantly trying to look for ways to correct myself. You know, either to be, at one point I wasn't thin enough, and another point I was too thin, and you know, so it was just always battling body issues.
I think for me, in school, my mom cut my hair one time, so I had like gorimapa literally, and I was, you know, really big. So it was just like I was like a rolling ball all the time, and you know, guys would make fun of me. And you know, at one point in secondary school, people were calling me penguin because apparently I used to waddle when I walk. So I mean, I think kids are just really inventive with names, and these things you grow up with that, and you grow up believing that you are that. So, how has those body image issues from when you were younger, how has it affected you now?
I think it's not just the kids though that do that, because the shocking part is that adults, like I said, I have aunts who would give me nicknames, and I think they actually encourage, by them doing that, the kids think, oh, okay, if my aunt or my mom is calling this person, you know, chubby or skinny or whatever it is, then it must be okay for us to pick on them.
And it seems like perfectly normal behavior.
Yeah, and growing up, I mean, now I have issues with my arms. Every morning I'm like, oh, this thing's shaking. The parts that I didn't used to shake before. Whereas I've got to the point where I'm told you don't say that around certain people because they'll think that you're making fun of them because they're bigger than them. Like, no, like as far as I see it, we all have parts of our bodies that we do not like. There are days I wake up and I feel like I have to tuck my stomach into my jeans. Okay, yeah, I might be a certain weight, but doesn't size rather, but that doesn't mean that my jeans aren't tight. They're skinny, they're tight, and nobody wants their skin hanging out over the, you know, and you're like, oh, you have body dysmorphia. No, I don't. I just have clothes that fit really, really tight, and I don't want them to look awkward.
Or even people that I know, I have friends that are slim and then they have still a bit of a tummy, and people make fun of them. But somebody who's so slim, look at your tummy, it's so big. Why?
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, you know, you'll feel a bit self-conscious, like, oh my gosh, you know, my stomach and everything, you have to work on certain aspects. Like she said, I have a couple of clients that are slim, and that one client in particular, her arms, she absolutely refuses to wear anything where her arms are going to be exposed. And I'm like, but you're on the slim side. But she's had issues all her life, and so it's stuck with her, even now she's an adult and married with kids. So, you know, you still do have women who go through a lot of issues, but it's just trying to find what you like about them or building your own confidence so that you can live with the body issues that we have.
I think it's usually worse for people whose bodies have changed. So you were super slim when you were younger and everybody, like, you know, loved you and was obsessed with your body, and then all of a sudden you have this body that you have no control over. Maybe you have a kid or two, or maybe just life just took over. I think it's usually quite worse. It's much worse for them.
Yeah.
But then, how do you think these issues affect women from living their lives? So for example, for me, if my friend wanted to hook me up with a guy, I would say, please make sure that he likes big girls. Because I don't want to get there on a blind date and he's like, ugh, you know, what is this? Do you understand? So it kind of affects my sort of self-confidence. But Wana, have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've felt, I think when someone's hitting on me, I just assume that they like me anyway. So usually I'm not particularly bothered in that respect. But the one thing I know, it's always giving me this very just warped sense of perfection. So even when you're on this journey to trying to be healthy and trying to be fit, you tend to have just a very warped sense of ideals of who you want to be. So in your head, so you're working out, you're eating right, and then in your head you think that by December in 6 months' time, I'm going to be a size 8. Meanwhile, that's not realistic. It's very, very unrealistic sense of who you are, because the pressure is a lot that you get. So no, I think with sort of the dating thing, I don't know, it has affected in a certain way, but I think that's been majorly my own insecurity, not the guys. So the guys are very okay with you, they like you, they care about you, but then it's you, then because of your own insecurities from your weight problems, you're just like, is he breaking up with me because I'm fat? You know, so you find that your own, or you're overcompensating a lot of the time because you're afraid that, would he go for a skinnier girl or something whenever anything happens or you have this moment? So it really sort of affects your psyche to a great extent. But I think majority of it for me is that unrealistic sense of self or who I want to become.
Or even ladies that have, you know, it might be somebody who wants bigger boobs. For instance, it doesn't have to be about the sizing. You could just be somebody who's been flat-chested all your life. And then, you know, you're like, oh, I know all my friends are, you probably didn't fill out on time. All my friends are big-chested, you know, whatever. And then you're like, oh, a guy will only like me if I have bigger boobs. So it's putting your mind, you're saving up trying to have plastic surgery because you want your boobs to be bigger. Or it could be like you said, people that have kids. I know people see me now and they're just like, oh my gosh, you have the best body, you have kids. And I'm just like, you don't know what I was 5 years ago. I was a US 4. So now this is the biggest I've been. And so even for me, it's still in my head. I'm constantly having problems. I look at myself all the time and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to lose weight. I'm so big. And even though my husband would be like, you're fine. And I knew that I was much thinner before, I swear it stayed with me. Even when I was getting pregnant to have children, it was a big issue. I didn't want to have kids because I kept saying, I'm going to lose my shape. I'm going to lose the way I was. And there are no pregnancy pictures of me because I went from a US 4 to a US 12. I was big. And so even with that, during the whole pregnancy, I just kept saying, I've got to lose the weight. I've got to lose the weight. Oh my God, I was miserable because my body wasn't my own. I wasn't used to having extra weight on me and having a child and having to put it on. And every time people would see me, that's the first thing. You've gained plenty weight. And just imagine being thin all your life and then all of a sudden people are not
the one I love is
weight.
You are fat too. You're fat. What's going on now? I need to do something about this too.
So it stays with you.
The funny part of that is the people that are telling you that are usually quite overweight themselves.
I know, that's
so you look at them
very
and you think,
interesting,
really? Have you looked
in
at
the
mirror
like,
lately?
seriously though.
I think that as women, when we look in the mirror, we never actually see ourselves. We see what other people see in us. And the times when we almost have honest conversations with ourselves in the mirror, we can't handle that almost. And I think the kind of love that you have around you, be it your friends or your family or your partners, can actually help that as well. I used to want to get a boob job because I'm one of those people who bloomed very, very, very late. You know, all my friends were in like B cups and DG cups, and I didn't even have a training bra, and this was high school and everything. So I always felt very kind of like, well, who would want to? And I was a tomboy as well, so it didn't help. You know, people come and visit my dad and be like, oh, you weren't home, I left a message with your son. My dad's like, my son's not around right now. You know, that your son now, the one that was, and that was me, and I also had like short hair and I thought I was a boy. You know, so I had those issues, and when I look in the mirror, I still see that. So when people tell me things like, oh, you look really beautiful, I still turn around like, oh, who are they talking about? Because it can't be me. I know what I see when I look in the mirror. And being with certain people as friends or whatever can actually help you in the sense that, for example, now I have issues with shaving my legs, for example. I will always break out. It creates lots of trouble for me. So I wax. And as you know, when you're waxing your legs, you have to wait for it to grow again. And in England, it was easy because you just wear jeans and it's cold or whatever it is. So you can hide for 3 weeks and then, you know, the legs come out like, ta-da. But in Nigeria, it's sunny all through the year. And I've noticed that I actually wouldn't go out the house if my legs, I wouldn't even go to events because I haven't waxed my legs, I can't do that. And I didn't realize that I'd actually conditioned myself to believe that if my legs aren't perfectly waxed, I'm not allowed to see anybody. Wow. And it's something that I have a friend who's literally been working with me, like, you have to stop doing that. Like, nobody will walk around the microscope going, oh, no one legs are hairy. Nobody, but I see it and I believe that everybody else is looking at it.
But then where does this warped idea of, you know, of perfection come from? Where, I mean, a lot of people blame the media. So they say, oh, because we see all these celebrities looking really skinny and lovely, that they're to blame. I mean, what do you say?
I do, honestly. I feel to a certain extent, even for the most confident of women, and I know that you still look at celebrities. Yesterday I had a meeting with a new client, and the first thing she said when I said, oh, are there any, who is it that you emulate their style? Immediately she gave me 2 major celebs, and I'm looking at her like, you're not, there's no way I can, but still, and this is someone who's not even a celebrity, it's just a normal executive who goes to work and just wants to dress really nice, but immediately you're not going to say, oh, I want to dress like my friend Oreka, or I want to just, it's immediately you look to a celeb. Yeah. If you're trying to compare yourself, 9 out of 10 times you're going to compare yourself to a celeb. I know I do it. Even now as a mom, I tell myself sometimes, I'm like, well, Veronica, you look okay. If you really, really, really starved yourself, like maybe Tori Spelling, and you worked out and everything, use TV shows, programs, it's not even like artists, but just TV shows. You can compare yourself to Sarah Jessica Parker all the time, just anyone.
But is it their fault? Is it their fault that we have these warped perceptions? Do you think it's their fault? Because we see these images all the time.
They're paid. That's their job. Yeah. They're under pressure themselves, and they're paid to be like that, for the certain image. I know with modeling, one of the things people would always say is, why are models so thin? But I know that I've researched it, and the reason why models actually have to be so thin is because when designers make the fabric, a lot of times when modeling first, back in the day, they work with little tiny bits of fabric. And in order, when you're making samples, not to waste so much fabric that is so expensive, you need the smallest person that you can use the smallest amount of fabric. Oh, so that's where the whole idea of having thin models came from. So, it's not because it just looks better, which is a plus, but actually there's a reason behind it.
I think it also changes with the eras because, of course, you had the 50s women were more buxom, then it moved. You had the waist, then you had the 80s women again. So I think it also sort of changes with the time. Like right now, there is sort of this boom of plus size and plus size bloggers and all of that kind of stuff. So that's also changing things. A lot of people are seeing the Christina Hendrickses of this world, the Sofia Vergara's, and you're feeling like, okay, it's, it's okay to have a little bit of curve in there. Exactly. So I think it's also part of, it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's a trend, but it's like sometimes it's like a wave that comes. You have the wave of the waifs, you have the waves of the sort of more curvier people, you have the waves of just different things that are going on as well. I remember as a little girl, I think she was about 13 or 12, sent me a Facebook message. She was like, she saw me on TV, on this style TV show that I had done before. She was like, oh, can she get some tips on what to wear and how to look? And I was like, you're a kid. You should be just playing with your friends and wear whatever it is you want to wear. Wear your crop top with your stomach hanging out, it doesn't matter. You're a child, And I felt really sad because I think that even when I was a kid, even if I was made fun of, there were still some things I felt protected from compared to now where 12-year-olds are so super conscious of certain things. I see girls that are 12, 13, and these are Nigerian girls, not, you know, I mean, abroad, it's a pastime. I think I've come to realize dieting and all that stuff is a pastime.
Yeah.
But you see, young Nigerian girls are like, oh, my thighs, my this, my legs, and you're like, you're a kid, you should be having fun. Wear your shorts innocently and your t-shirts and jump around, and it shouldn't be a big deal, you know?
I think that if I were ever to be a parent, I would ban music videos in my house. Because
really?
There was one summer in particular that I got into a serious bout of depression, because it was this one summer where I think this is when I was in England, we didn't have, I think it was MTV Base or BET, one of those channels, we didn't have it for a long stretch, and then it suddenly appeared. And for the first time ever, instead of just watching MTV Europe, which was a lot of, you know, more Caucasian videos, I saw a lot of black videos, and they were, you know, either wearing their bikinis or whatever, and they just all looked amazing. And so before, I never really felt like I had a problem with me, because the videos I watched were Gwen Stefani. I can't be Gwen Stefani, not her hair, not her bone structure, nothing. So the fact that I was now watching this channel and every single day was showing that, well, they are your people. Look at you. What is wrong with you?
Exactly.
I was really, really depressed, and I had to ask my mom to actually unsubscribe us from that. And that's just me. Like every single day I was just getting that image, and I just thought, what's wrong with me?
I know for many years I had saved up for boob reduction though. I had saved up, spent the money, saved up, spent the money.
Oh, really?
I had Googled, I had checked everything out, called some of the hospitals that, you know, could I do like instrumental payments and put on higher purchase for like 3 years for breast reduction. Because I remember at secondary school, they used to tell me that, that when you have kids, that all you need to do is just back them and fling your boobs to breastfeed.
That's so mean.
Yeah, it's because at 14, I was like a double D already, so.
But isn't it funny how, like, a lot of women, some of the things, like, people will be dying to be.
I know, right? It's
that
weird
big, and then
like,
some people,
you know,
it's
I wish
just
you could give me some. I'm like, please, I wish you could take it.
You know, but then another thing I was thinking about is on the flip side. So a lot of people sort of say, okay, because it's celebrities, you know, they look perfect, and you know, we are under that pressure to look perfect. They also get the brunt of criticism. A lot of
Absolutely.
So for example, someone in Nigeria, someone like Tools, anytime she puts on it, and I think she actually looks really amazing.
Yeah.
But people just, you know, you need to lose weight, you need to, and I just think those comments are unfair. I mean, but then these are women like her, you know, but faceless
I
women.
find the Tools comments very fascinating, because I remember before, sort of, when we first started on radio, before the red carpet thing started, I was just like, oh my God, there's this girl Tools, I love her body, like that's the body I would want, flat stomach, rounded hips, and like I thought like that was the body I wanted. And I found it fascinating that people were actually insulting her online and like, oh, she used to do this. I'm thinking, really?
Yeah. Well, we are very critical, you know, like I like to say, people always quick to point the finger. You know, we never really look at ourselves. I mean, and I was even having this conversation the other day. I said, it's not just people that are in fashion. Everybody criticizes everybody. Even old men sitting at home watching TV, something might come and be like, what is she wearing? See the skirt she's wearing, or, you know, why is she wearing that? Her body is too big to be wearing that. It's just a normal thing for us to criticize. I do feel, however, yes, we are under pressure by the media, but growing up, I feel like when parents constantly remind their kids of how beautiful they are and how much they love them, you know, sometimes you forget it's just your child. But I think that when you start when they're little, to always tell them how amazing they are, how beautiful, it helps to build their confidence.
Yeah.
So no matter what, with the Tools of this world or anybody, no matter how thin or fat your child is or how short or tall, you know, they will always stay in here knowing that it doesn't matter what anybody says outside, I know that I'm beautiful within myself, and that helps and doesn't.
Yeah, I think what I know for me, what helped me was definitely building my skills and my talents. So that just gave me a different perspective, a different kind of confidence. Like it almost felt like my body probably existed to some people, but to me it was just like it was a sort of very transient thing because I had things that I felt outlived people's perceptions of me. So I think that's another thing, because we concentrate so much on the physical appearance. The world is judgmental, yes, you know, nobody is arguing with that. But you can control how people react to you. You can't control how people react to you, but you can control how you react to the situation. You know, and I think just building yourself, understanding that you're multidimensional. Yes, you are your body, and your body should be fit. It's a tool so that you can do all these other wonderful things that you're doing. So you need to take care of it. No one's denying that. But taking care of it also means that you have to accept that, you know, you have to have a realistic sense of yourself. Whatever you are, whether you're skinny, whether you're tall, whether you're fat, whatever it is, it's a journey. Some parts you can't change it, deal with it. Some parts you can work on it, keep working on it. You know, if the next 5, 10 years you might lose that 3 stone, okay, you might be able to eat and put on some weight if you need to, but it's a journey. But also knowing that you have other things to give.
Yeah.
Speaking about the realistic sense of self, Veronica and I had a very interesting conversation yesterday. So Veronica styled me for this shoot, and she was saying to me, "Oh, you know, Glory, you should think about wearing Spanx." And I was saying to her, like, I'm done with the whole body magic Spanx kind of thing. So, Veronica, don't you think we're going? I mean, this is not underwear. This is, you know, Spanx, body magic, body contouring, that sort of thing. But then, don't you think that we are going to, you know, we're just going a bit too crazy? You know, women, fake hair, the fake nails, and now, you know, you can even get some bottom fillers with these, you know, body contouring. I mean, at one point, can we just let go? Like, okay, I have a big tummy. Like, do I really have to strap myself in?
Yes, you do. You have a big tummy. That's fine inside your house. That is not okay when you're in the public eye and you're going outside and you're carpet. I'm so sorry. We had this conversation. I'm a everyone needs. I wear Spanx because I feel like with Spanx they smooth you out. You know, and what I was trying to explain to her was that Spanx is not just for people that are big. You want to, you know.
I think skinny people wear
but I don't see why.
I have a couple of dresses that when you wear them, you know, your bum, your butt, just the natural shape of your butt is showing, even through the fabric. Sometimes it just smooths it out so that it looks like skin. You know, it's just to make it so they're not dimples,
ripple effects
and stuff like that. So it just gives you a nice overall clean look. And another thing Spanx does, because it holds you in your tummy and everything, it takes away a lot of times your appetite. So sometimes you don't extend yourself to overeating because it's already enclosing you in.
But what if you're hungry? You can just take it off.
You take it off, and then
you just go to the toilet and take it off.
Honestly, there was a wedding I went for the other day, and I was strapped in. This was like 2-3 years ago. I don't know if
we both were
we went to the same wedding. Look, I went into the bathroom and took the thing off and put it in my purse because I just thought, look, really, I said, at one time a girl should be allowed to live.
Yeah. But I think with Spanx, I think they're different to the body magics where you actually have to almost corset yourself in. With Spanx, like you said, there's certain fabrics where you actually need, like if you wore regular underwear, the color, the lines, something, it would break the seam or something. It just won't look right. So I think with Spanx, it kind of makes sense.
I think it depends on which one it is as well.
Yeah. But there's some body magic I've seen where you literally, you put it on and it's a whole different person
it's a harness.
If it comes off. That one bothers me.
I've never done body magic.
Okay, I've done body magic before, and I was forced to buy it actually. But so I did buy it, and I tried it, and I think I went to the bathroom to take it off because like it actually hurt I actually bruised my ribs in the process. I was just thinking, now come on, what's the point? But I mean, with the shape, with the shapers, it's about smoothing the edges depending on the outfit you're wearing. It's kind of like you wearing makeup or wearing a weave. Yeah. Like today you want to change your look. Tomorrow you want a more hourglass figure for this particular dress. You might want to look boyish. It depends on what it is. So I think for some of it it's smoothing out the edges, but some of it, sometimes a bit of denial. Like, okay, dude, like, just go to the gym, do those sit-ups and give it up.
It's not going to change your life drastically. It's going to help improve. I know some people that put on like 2 or 3 and they wear it every day. To me, that's an issue. How do you need help?
Because a lot of the time, it doesn't even make you look smaller. It just makes you maybe have a more defined waist.
Exactly.
It actually, I personally didn't think it made me look smaller in any way. It made me, it sort of pushed everything up and everything else down. So but I just felt like,
I know someone who says
constricted.
That she likes it because it helps her structure. She slouches a lot, so she said it helps. For me, mine is the chicken nuggets or breasts or what do you call them?
Okay, chicken fillets.
The silicone fillers, And I got a couple because, like I said, no boobs. So I got a couple, and the day that I walked around and one of it fell. And it was one of those, do I walk away? Or do I act like I know that? And I just, and after that day, I was like, you know what? That's okay. I'm not doing this anymore.
I think even some of the Spanx, especially the ones that are slimming for the thighs, after a while they start rolling up. And then in the when you take pictures, you can see like, okay, you know, there's like a line, and I'm just like, you know what, Glory, just embrace who you are. Yeah. But clearly, Veronica is not feeling that.
No, I'm not. I feel like everyone should have, like, even if it's 2 or 3 pairs in the closet, for whatever reason. I mean, I have my older sister. She's big. You know, she's always been big her whole life. And the same thing, like, she's a firm believer. Like, she's like, oh, I don't know why I need body magic. And I convinced her to get Spanx, and we tried them on, and she had on this outfit, and she looked like, I mean, she was beautiful before, but it just made her look so much better, and she was going for a wedding. You know, so that's what I'm saying, like, you need it, and it's not every day. It's just every once in a while, you know, that you might need. I know when after I had my first son, because I had a C-section, I had my Spanx on to help control my tummy and push it and everything, and it worked wonders. It really, really helps me. So it's multi-purpose.
Okay, so we'll see if I put up
necessary.
Smoothing out the edges.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives you a good foundation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
The foundation before the powder comes on.
Okay, but then Wana, you mentioned something quite interesting, or rather actually quite troubling, which is how young girls are beginning to see themselves in this negative light. So how can we begin to sort of stem the tide, this negative perception of how we see ourselves?
I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference, but in my house growing up, I never had a Barbie doll or Wendy doll or Ken or whatever it is. Every week my mom would go and she would buy me books, and I read. And I didn't have body image issues until I think right now is probably, this stretch in time is the most my body image issues has really started, because I'm going to shoots and the stylist is telling me I'm awkward to style, or, you know, oh, your arm looks like they bring a size 12 and I'm a UK 6. If I've had a really bad month of just binge eating, which I do a lot, I'll be an 8. They'll bring a 12 and they'll say, oh, because of your arms, I thought you were a 12. But, oh, I've seen you on TV. I assumed that you were like a 12 or 14. And so I'm now questioning myself like all over again in a way that I've never done before. So, I mean, I think like Veronica said earlier as well, like from when they're kids, you have to let them know, I love you the way you are, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous and all of that. And regardless who you are, what you are, I appreciate you. And that stays with you. And that's something that my parents gave me. And I think I never grew up feeling like I needed to have blonde hair, long hair, and all of that. And I think maybe that's helped me to a certain extent, but you can't really avoid the body image issues. It will come.
I think I'm a media person, so I understand the power of the media, and I understand, you know, the power of that one narrative that makes everybody feel like this is what is perfect and this is what it should be. And I'm very big on, you know, people that control media in whatever way, showing different perspectives and showing different stories. And one of the things for me is people actually celebrating what people are doing, their work. I think, you know, it's about what every kid wants to be cool. They're attracted to what is cool. And when you make this person cool because of what they do, not necessarily about what they're wearing, I think it also adds, I mean, you can't change it completely, but it's important for them to feel like, oh, this person, you know, it's that whole idea of raising role models. You know, ask a kid now, who's your role model? And I remember all the time as kids, we always looked at foreign people. You know, we said, oh, this person does this and this person does that. But we never ever sort of, you know, who we would like to emulate. But now it's just like, oh, she looks really hot. I want that body. I want that body. Like aspirations have moved from who we want to be and things we want to do to who we want to look like. You know, and I think it's important that that becomes equally as important a narrative as how they look. You can't change that. Glamour is part of the media business. It is part of it. You can't change that, but you can add something to it. You can give other elements of things as well.
I think glamour is part of the Lagos culture, or even the
it's
Nigerian
part of
culture.
The culture.
All you have to go to church or a wedding or any one way, and you see like
global culture, full stop. So, but I think it's just, you know, just change. Like with parents, again, celebrating your child's achievements, what they're doing, saying that, oh, what do you want to do? Do you want to go, you know, are you going to go for summer camp? Do you want to do this? You're dancing, you know, just stuff that they're doing that's exciting. You know, and they're dancing, you know.
That is the best thing.
Exactly.
It's a really good
you know,
thing.
or you're going your swimming competition and you're getting medals in your swimming. Whatever it is just that you're doing that's just makes them feel like it's fun and they have something else to live for.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really
I think another important thing though is this emphasis on dieting and moving that from being healthy. Because I think that's why sometimes we set unrealistic goals for ourselves.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
for example, I have like my screensaver is a picture of Beyonce's stomach. And so I put it there because I thought every time I want to eat something, I would just look at that stomach and remember, Glory, it doesn't work. 'Cause my phone is always in my bag. So I still end up eating as much. But then I think now, and when we've talked about this a lot, about moving from that idea of saying, okay, I'm going to diet, I'm going to do this, I'm going to starve myself, and actually saying, you know what, I want to be healthy. So it's a more long-term process.
people like Beyonce, her lifestyle dictates what she does.
Yeah.
She dances, she moves around a lot, and she has nutritionists, doctors, everything that follow her around. Even people that look after her hair will tell her, oh, you need more, I don't know, sulfur in your diet so that your hair will grow less or more, whatever it is. So I would never sit there and think that I want Beyonce's body because I don't have the money or the time or the attention. I have a 9-to-5 job in addition to everything else that I do. Where am I going to spend 6 hours in the gym and trying to look like Lady Gaga? It won't happen. You know, my midriff is different to whoever it is I'm comparing myself to. So if their stomach is now a certain kind of way, I will never look that way. Sorry, I just rambled on. I know the diet's really upset me.
I think for me, the key word, I think where I've sort of gotten to in my life now, I think age has sort of helped as well. Key word for me is sustainability.
Yeah.
The last time I ever went on diet, 2007, and I said, I vowed never again, I'm never doing that, any diets again. I think it's all about sustainability, which is what's important. I mean, fitting into a certain dress is important, it's nice. It also it helps your confidence. But being healthy, being fit, that's urgent. That's a matter of urgency as far as I'm concerned. So I want to go to the doctor and they say your cholesterol level is normal, or you know your hemoglobin level is normal, all that sort of stuff. So for me, it's okay. There are bad days where you would go out with your friends and have some ice cream. But then on the other days, you know, you're cooking your meals, you know the quantity of oil you're using a certain kind of oil, not a certain kind of oil. You're educating yourself about food, polysaturates, all that sort of stuff. You know, you're eating right, you're eating well, you're not starving. When I'm trying to starve myself, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm upset.
And it's hard to focus.
I'm frustrated, I can't even focus.
I really agree what you guys are saying, because for me, I've moved from going from you know, really working out, and then going to times where I'm just eating and I can't stop eating. And it's like, you know, I've worked out really well for 2 weeks, and then the other 2 weeks I'm just eating everything in sight. So I think from what you guys are saying, you know, I'm just trying to round up for the audience and just getting people to sort of say, okay, I have to know who I am, and then work out a realistic goal of who I want to be in terms of, you know, my weight or whatever issue I have. But also in terms of just looking at myself more than the physical, which is what you were saying, Wana, about, you know, saying, okay, what is it that I do?
You're more than what you look. You know, you're so many more things.
But then if so someone watching this, who a lot of the things you said, you know, probably mirror her lifestyle or even his lifestyle, what would you say, like a parting shot? What one way they could, you know, move from having a negative body image to a positive one?
Just, you know, I would say just appreciate yourself. Surround yourself with people who tell you, you know, who are confident builders, you know, and find people within your community or someone that you actually know to aspire or to be a role model. Don't look at media or TV because you don't know those people, you don't know what their lifestyle is like. Oreka give you a perfect example. Beyonce does what she has to do because that's her work ethics, her lifestyle requires that. Why don't you find someone who is similar to you that you like and kind of emulate that, but at the same time do what makes you happy. Go to a doctor, make sure you check your blood level and all of that, and then you can ask a nutritionist or a doctor, what are things that I can take to improve certain areas about my lifestyle. That would be the best advice.
Okay.
I'm going to use my mom on this one because I tell people all the time when they say, oh, Oreka, you're so skinny. I'm like, don't worry, we start out like this in my family and then we balloon up. My mom has been everything from a size 8. She was very, 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 she was skinnier than I was as when she was younger. She's been everything from an 18 to a 28 UK. She, at one point, they needed her, she was getting arthritis and she probably needed surgery. And the doctor said, look, if you can lose a couple of dress sizes, then we might get away with not doing surgery and we'll just keep you on, you know, these health supplements. And recently, last month, in fact, she had surgery on her knee. This is not arthritis related, she just needed knee replacement. And for a big woman, in the way that people think you're big, therefore you're unhealthy, she had over 30 clips put in after the surgery, and it came out and everything is healed perfectly. She doesn't have diabetes, she doesn't have cholesterol issues, none of the things that you associate with, oh, you're big, therefore you're healthy. On the flip side, I know somebody who is skinny and looks healthy on the outside and went to play squash and died. Why? Because he had heart condition and he also had bad cholesterol, but on the outside you didn't see that. So just because someone is a certain size on the outside doesn't mean that they're a healthy size on the inside.
I think for me, I would say, you know, health is key. So make sure you're exercising in some way, shape, or form. If you can't, you don't need to afford to, if you can't afford to join the gym, just walk every day. Walk for an hour every day, you know, around your estate, your area, you know, do some walking, try to eat right. Understand that, you know, you will have days where you eat junk food And yeah, keep it to a minimum. You know, it's all about physical control. But then on the inside, I think just get to know yourself. Build yourself as a person. You know, you are sum of all things. Your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit. And all those things need to be nourished. They all need to be looked after. They need to be taken care of. And that's what I say.
So guys, you heard it all here today. We need to move away from negative body image issues and embrace who we are. You are more than what you look like. Obviously, what you look like is important, but what you are on the inside is also just as important. So ladies, guys, learn to live your life. Be healthy, you know, stay away from fad diets, and just live and enjoy yourself. Till next time on the Inspire series. It's been nice having you.